This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring former FBI Special Agent and Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, Robin Dreeke.
More and more accounts of the life of Rex Heuermann continue to surface. Accounts, allegations from those who claim to have met him along their journey and his journey in the 90s and the early 2000s. We have two new accounts from attorney Ray, who has been representing several of the victims of the Gilgo Beach murders, and some new accounts of not necessarily people he murdered or anyone that was necessarily connected with them, but in that world. And wow, it certainly, if true, these continue to, I think, really etch into stone the character arc that we have of Rex Heuermann. One of the new ones from a woman named Taylor. She was a bottle girl at a nightclub, was enticed by a man to go back, said she can make a bunch of money, got to the place, and in walks the man that she believes was Rex Heuermann. I believe this was back in 2010 that the interactions took place, and in that interaction, she was planning on selling this man cocaine. A threat was made. She tried to escape and pulled out a taser and did finally escape, but she does claim that it was Rex Heuermann that was there, that was ready to assault her, to do whatever he was going to do. But luckily she did get away. And that's just one of the two new accounts that we have. Robin Dreeke, retired FBI special agent. Speaking of character arcs, this is your area. Are you at all surprised? Does this seem to be pretty credible testimony?
Nope. We're just every single week with him, it feels like you have more and more data points for that behavior, life arc that he has, that character arc, no doubt. This is not helping defense one iota at all. It's depraved. It's pure depravity, regardless of guilt or innocence on the murders. Pure depraved behavior. You know, it's interesting too. It's unluckily for him, he's got a very distinctive look. Yeah,
and there's no questioning if you were in a room with Rex Heuermann 20 years ago.
Yeah, you know, it's a good way to put it. He's a striking individual physically.
Yes.
To behold, which makes him extremely memorable, which does not bode well for him. I mean, if you're going to have abhorrent behavior in any way and you're trying to hide, that's not the look you want to have.
No.
So, and thankfully, you know, we're gonna get justice at some level with this individual, no doubt. And wow, Attorney Ray, is he doing his job or what?
He's the one that seems to be bringing far more to light than even the investigation itself half the time. And the investigation's always a little bit, let's wait. And I get it. You got to look at the evidence. But wow, I like I said, I call him Inspector Gadget. He reminds me of with his hats.
In the arena of public opinion, he's ruling the day. There is no doubt because he's not defense, because he's not prosecution. He's for the victims' families. He's going to town. Granted, the likelihood of all these things being known by prosecution, most likely, you know, I'd like to think so anyway. I think the resources brought to bear on this case are tremendous. The amount of people involved, the investigation involved. But every time one of these things come out, as you and I have said, it bodes that question: when they're going to interview Asa?
That is the big question. Another account coming out from Mary Poe, who said that she was a sex worker in '94 and went to get in a car with this man. She believes it was Rex Heuermann, pulled a gun, and it discharged and actually got her in the back of the neck. And there's medical evidence that they went back with records show that this did happen. This wasn't a story that was being necessarily made up for posterity or anything like that. But and this is the area of time too where there's allegations from other people, sworn affidavits stating that, you know, I was in that house that Heuermann lived in with Asa, and she was there. There's accounts from people that she was participating. There's accounts from people that she was just hanging out upstairs. She denies every single iota of it. But yeah, why why haven't we seen more in terms of looking at his estranged wife, who's now doing the documentary?
I have no idea. So some things always befuddle me.
Yeah.
You know, these investigations, and this is one of them. I would like to think that they have, or they will be interviewing her, but it bodes the question: why haven't they, or why haven't we heard about it? Because what we're seeing in her is kind of like we're talking about with a lot of these cases. You know, you're seeing some maybe some cognitive dissonance happening, that because the behaviors of her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband, or estranged husband, whatever we want to call him, were so atrocious that she's got a lot of shame. And shame makes us block things out and makes us want to distance ourselves from, because no one, you know, here's one of the laws of human nature that Robert Greene talks about is in his books, and that is, we don't want to do anything to harm our own sense of self, and to acknowledge that we're actually aware of abhorrent behavior by others really assaults our sense of ego, our well-being, and all these other, you know, things that are going on. And so as soon as because I truly believe that, you know, she's like the frog in the boiling water with the behavior over years and decades with him, and he's desensitizing her towards this behavior, and all of a sudden you're confronted with, bam, serial killer, or, you know, accused. It throws your entire sense of self and what you viewed yourself as a mother, as a wife, and whatever she viewed herself as, in complete upheaval.
Yeah.
And so the mind is going to do a lot of things to survive that.
Yeah, I mean, can a brain even process something that of that gravity? I mean, when we're met with shocking information, whether it be, you know, the sudden death of a loved one, a spouse that cheated, or something, it's like almost blackout mode. And it's everyone who's been in some sort of situation, who's lived life a little bit, has had something in life where they've had that moment. But to get that gravity, it's not just one little, or not little, but one interpersonal thing that's going on here that's, you know, affecting a small, it's like, oh my God, like they're accusing you of being that guy, and it looks like you are that guy. I can't imagine how one does process that and just kind of keep trucking along with any semblance of sanity.
Shame. I mean, so imagine yourself, again, you and me going through this. Hard to imagine reversing it with our spouses and our significant others, is, you know, that, you know, it's like, all right, I got used to you doing this, and I got used to doing this, and you made all the excuses for why you have this behavior. And yes, I'm sticking with you. We have kids together. You're paying the bills. Okay. And then all of a sudden one day you're confronted with, oh, it wasn't just that. It's a murderer. He's being accused of being a serial. I mean, that is literally going in your brain from 0 to 100, or 0 to 1,000. And it takes a while for any normal human being to start really processing it. I remember, so being an FBI, I was in a Manhattan field office for many years in Lower Manhattan, and I was there during 9/11. I remember when that first plane hit the North Tower, I saw it live. I was 5 blocks away on the street getting a cup of coffee. I wasn't processing. My brain wasn't absorbing, this is terrorism. My brain saw and was trying to equate what I was witnessed live to what I had experienced within our lives. That's how memory works. That when we're young children growing up, we use reference points for frames of reference so that we can put names and titles and words to things that become familiar in our environment. We start matching these things. That's how our memory starts forming, is because we can start matching things.
Yeah.
And so when I first saw that plane hit the North Tower, I was like, small plane, side of tower, weather, must be weather, fog, you know, your heart attack, all the things that I've been exposed to in my life as planes crash. My brain and my memories trying to place over that, because it had never been exposed to terrorism by plane before.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of in disbelief, what I'm actually seeing. And then when the second plane, I watched that one live, hit the South Tower, and the fireball comes through, that's when you start doing the adjustment. Oh, this must be this, because I had to reframe everything. So much in this situation here, or in many situations where someone who's close to someone has to confront the reality that they were never exposed to before, or never contemplated before. Your brain is literally going from 0 to 100. It takes a while for that brain to kind of engage and process. And then the hard part, I would imagine, for Asa at this point is I actually knew that this behavior was not normal, and I rationalized away this abhorrent behavior, regardless of serial killing, but all this really unhealthy behavior. It's very shameful. I mean, can you imagine being the life partner of someone that was abusing women in such a abhorrent way and being accused of that? I mean, that assaults who you are at the core as a woman, as a mother. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, it is. An interesting other piece of this that I saw this week, Rex Heuermann is receiving counseling in jail. Apparently, he's rather depressed and lonely. That's what we've been hearing. He's in solitary confinement, misses his wife. Lawyer revealing that Heuermann is receiving counseling for depression in jail. I know neither of us are counselors or psychiatrists or anything of that nature, but does counseling work for someone like Rex Heuermann? I mean, I guess if you're speaking strictly to their own, ego and talking on their terms, maybe, but counseling for the guy who's alleged to have done all these things, let's assume he did do all these things, and now he's sad he's in jail, let's get him some counseling. Number one, I kind of find it insulting for all the people on the outside who would love to have access to mental health professionals. And this guy's accused of doing all these things, and he gets it, and we're paying for it as the taxpayers.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yes.
My impulse as a human being is good. I'm glad he's sad and lonely.
Yeah, me too. Like, that comes with the territory. It's called shame.
But my optic on things is always a little bit different. Also, always overlaps with the things I consume. I'm a reader of books, and right now I'm in the middle of, towards the end of now, Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom.
Okay.
And why is that relevant? Well, Nelson Mandela was in jail, imprisoned a long time in the abhorrent conditions in South African prison system. And he said something very profound there, which does actually equate to this. And that is, he goes, you can judge the nature of a country by how they treat their lowest criminals and their jail system. And so when I saw that he's getting counseling for these issues, I was like, that's a good jail system.
True.
That's
a positive.
It gives you faith in our system. Granted, there's people that could definitely use counseling on the outside that aren't getting it. And why is this, accused serial killer getting it? But if you just take it in that little microcosm, it's like, wow, we're actually providing counseling and assistance to a suspected serial killer for depression. And my only other thought is, good, well, keep him healthy enough to get him to trial so he can stand trial for all these heinous things.
That's true. Now, I am curious how you read a book by Nelson Mandela, because he died in prison back in the 1980s. I believe it was right around the time Shazam came out with...
What's that effect called again? This is the whole proof of the Matrix.
Exactly. The Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect.
Yep,
yes.
Exactly.
It's his autobiography. So yes, he did not die in prison as people would think. There's a lot of that. Isn't that crazy?
That's a whole other topic. Yeah, but yes, 110.
It's more towards Tony and his ghost stories. But no, I totally agree. But yeah, what a great statement to society, in our society, in our legal system, at least in New York, where he's being tried, that, hey, they recognize that this guy's got an issue, so we're going to get him some counseling. It's a real puzzle palace, though, isn't it?
Without a doubt.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.